It is 6:30 p.m. on June 18, 2026, and I hereby call the regular board meeting of the Board of Trustees of ECISD to order. Madam Secretary, may I have a roll call, please?
Yes, ma'am. Ginger Friesen, David Santos.
Yes, ma'am, here.
Randall Gerhard.
Here.
James Mulkey. Del Brazil is here. Emilio Carrasco.
I'm here.
Monique Braces.
I'm here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. The next item on the agenda is prayer and the pledge.
Ms. Chase?
Good evening, President Presas, board members, Mr. Toscano, and ECISD leadership. Thank you for the opportunity to represent and share a brief highlight of student engagement at Heritage Middle School. Tonight, we are excited to celebrate a group of students who have had the opportunity to learn beyond the classroom through travel, history, culture, and real-world experiences. But before we do that, I would like to present Autumn Harvey, who will lead us in our prayer, pledge of allegiance to the U.S. flag and the Texas flag. Please stand.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Please bow your heads. Dear God, thank you for bringing us together today. Thank you for our school district, our teachers, our principals, our families, and everyone who works hard to support students. Please guide our school board and district leaders as they make decisions for East Central ISD. Help them lead with wisdom, kindness, and a focus on what is best for students. Please bless our schools, keep us safe, and help us continue to learn, grow, and do our best. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you.
So during this same board meeting last year, I came and I spoke to you about our students who had the opportunity to travel to Washington, D.C. and North Carolina. So this board meeting, I'm going to present some information about our students who had the opportunity to travel to Boston and New York as a travel learning experience. So a challenging start became a lesson in perseverance, flexibility, and teamwork. We had 15 students, 14 Heritage Middle School students, 1 Legacy Middle School student, 13 adults who provided support and supervision, and 2 days of an itinerary adjustment after their departing flight was canceled. Luckily, it was canceled here in San Antonio, their flight was canceled. So what the students were able to experience, they adapted after a 1-day flight cancellation, shifted their itinerary. They were able to stay engaged and positive despite the delay, and they practiced real-world problem solving with peers and trusted adults. So the image that is there is Heritage and Legacy students learning with adults at a public art installation. Their trip then took them to Boston, where they connected classroom learning to place, history, and community. So some of their engagement opportunities were they were able to experience major Boston landmarks and historical spaces. They shared travel moments and built relationships among students and adults, and the experience created memories that connect school pride to the wider world. So there in that photo, you see the students standing out in front of Fenway Park. So why this was important, it allowed students to engage, and through their engagement, they're more likely to feel connected to school, adults, and future opportunities. Their trip then took them to New York, where they were able to explore history, culture, and storytelling through landmark experiences. So they visited New York City landmarks. They learned a great deal about immigration in Ellis Island and the Tenement Museum, which for 8th graders, that was a great connection for them. And they also got the opportunity to experience a Broadway show, expanding exposure to the performing arts. So this trip gave students a direct connection to history, culture, identity, and possibility. So in this image, you see the students standing in front of the Manhattan Skyline. So the impact, learning beyond the classroom, this experience strengthens student relationships by giving students access to authentic learning, trusted relationships, and new cultural experiences. It allowed them to experience belonging, perspective, and possibility. So when our East Central ISD middle school students see the world, they also begin to see what is possible for themselves. So thank you to the board for allowing our students the opportunity to experience learning outside of the classroom.
Thank you so much. I wanted to thank Autumn for the lectures and the prayer. Thank you very much for that. And that was a wonderful presentation. It's just amazing that the kids get to travel and see things like that. So proud of that. Okay, so the next item on the agenda will be awards and recognitions.
Now turn it over to Mr. McKay. We've got a superstar with us today.
Yeah, we do. Actually, we have a young man that's not only strong physically, but he has a very strong character and will to understand. So at this time, we would like to call Jesse Cardenas, who is our powerlifting state champion from East Central High School. He's got some of his medals and trophies and everything up there with you, so y'all should, there you go. He had them all in his hand. I said, I'll tell you what, why don't you just carry your gold medals? Jesse, just allow us to say a few words for you. Jesse has always strived for success, from making regionals as a freshman to placing 11th in state as a sophomore. Although this early success would have been great for most, Jesse strived to make sure that he never felt defeated again. By his junior year, the grind paid off as he became a regional and state champion. Jesse earned best squatter in the lightweight platform and set multiple regional records, making it a perfect 7-0 season, meaning that he won gold in all 7 meets this year. More importantly, powerlifting brought out the characteristics that everyone knew he possessed: discipline, confidence, and a sense of purpose. Jesse's credits success to his village, Coach Bibbs, his teachers, his friends, his teammates, and the family who pushed him to be his best, whether it was making weight or pushing through a tough workout. As he heads into his final high school season, he will only be representing East Central High School, but he is already committed to be lifting for UTSA after he graduates from East Central. Jesse is ready to chase even bigger goals and leave everything that he has done on the platform for his senior year. We're really proud of you, Jesse. One more round of applause for pictures too. Let's get a couple pictures with the coach. He's definitely want to do that.
I understand.
So you understand?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jesse here, if you don't know, powerlifting is all about 3 lifts. It's squat, bench, and deadlift. And if I can remember Jesse's numbers, Jesse squatted 525 pounds? Or 520. Somewhere 525 pounds at the weight of 122 pounds.
Weighs 122, squatted 525.
So,
Squatted 4 Jessies.
and I want to say he went out and he benched 320 pounds and then lifted around 485 to clinch the meet. So Jesse, by the time we got the deadlift, he was over 120 pounds ahead of everybody else.
Get some pictures with them all together. That's awesome. And his family's in the audience, and we know this, that his incredible work ethic, drive, and positive character comes from having a strong support system at home. Would his family please stand so we can recognize you as well? Great job. Look forward to see what you do your senior year. Oh, you not graduating? No.
He's just getting started.
We'll do this again next year.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is item 5, public comments. Do we have anyone signed up for public comment? We have Claudia Sanford signed up. Let me read you this couple of things, you know.
Yes, ma'am.
But, all right. When addressing the presiding officer during the public forum, speakers' commentary must adhere to the following. Speakers signed up to speak about topics not on the agenda will be allowed to speak first. Speakers signed up to speak about agenda items will be grouped second according to the agenda item. Speakers may get up to 3 minutes. All comments shall be addressed to the presiding officer. In accordance with board policy BEE local, the board shall not deliberate or respond to any subject that is not included on the agenda posted with the notice of the meeting. Speakers who have signed up to speak on specific agenda items must focus their own comments on the posted agenda item.
Yes, ma'am. I promise I'm not here to
Yeah.
cause problems.
You know the drill.
I kind of remember. Good evening, President Presses, School Board, and Mr. Toscano. My name is Claudia Sanford, and I've had the honor of serving on the East Central School Board for 14 years. 8 of those years were with Mr. Toscano. Tonight, I just want to congratulate you. It's about time for that you were awarded the 2026 Superintendent Award. It was a long time coming. I was just so ecstatic when Mr. Carrasco, I saw his post. I was like texting Mo and Ginger. It's just amazing. You are the most humble person I know. I love you. I miss y'all. I just wanted to just congratulate you and just say how proud I am of you. And I know you'll continue fighting a good fight for our students and our staff and our community. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you for that, Claudia. We're going to take about a 5-minute break for those of you that need to leave or can leave. And we'll be by 6:47. Thank Okay, so it's 2:47, we're going to resume the meeting with item 6, trustee reports, updates regarding ECISD district and community events. I actually have been very quiet. That's a good word. So I don't have anything to report, thank you.
Oh, they changed the picture. That's a good one. That's my new tie. I had to match Shane from last year. So, okay. I didn't have anything specific, but I wanted to do a little did you know. Did a little research on the event that we had this morning, and if you did not know, there are 58 ISDs that Region 20 looks over and takes into account all of the superintendents within those districts and for this particular award. So I had to do this because I was very impressed. I was very impressed when it came to me and very proud to be a part of that. And just thought I would share a couple of quick facts. So 58 ISDs that we have, which means that he is now part of a very elite class of less than 2% of superintendents for the last 40 years. So since 1984, only 40 have been selected since this process had started, and we got to see the latest this morning, which was very proud. Outside of that, I think that you guided with your guidance, your commitment, Roland. Superintendents leave for a range of reasons. They move to advance their careers. They chase a range of different things, but you stayed. And I think that shows a lot about the district, the commitment that you've made to our community and about the students. It's always been about the students. So I just had to share that and say that to work off of what the public speaker had said, that very proud moment. I was very, I think I got 7 minutes of film this morning. So I I think I watched it twice saying, look at that, look at it. So anyways, from me to you, on behalf of my family and the community, a sincere congratulations on that.
Absolutely. That was good stuff, Mr. Santos.
I'm going to piggyback on that. I don't have a lot to say, but I do want to say congratulations to you. And it's not surprising, right? Because we're here, we see, and to Mr. Santos' point, your commitment to this community and to our kids is phenomenal. And so I know it touches me directly with my youngest graduating, my two oldest have already graduated, and then my two grandsons doing so well and just blossoming because of all y'all's efforts, right? And it starts at the top. So, you know, when the good things happen, you get credit. When bad things happen, you get the credit too. But nonetheless, sincere from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's my turn. Well, guess what? I have a slideshow. I've waited for this moment for years. But the reason I have a slideshow is, see, my superintendent, I had the privilege of being in Austin the past 2 days, and with the system of great schools, and our superintendent and our wonderful administrative team were stellar in doing their presentations to other schools, districts across the state. The Commissioner of Education, Mr. Mike Morat, was there, and he spoke, and he spoke, and he spoke. But he did say, he did acknowledge East Central and all that East Central means to the community and across the state and all of that. So it was an extremely proud moment for me. I was so glad. I was surprised. I thought I was going to take in a couple of classes or whatever, sessions, and which I was able to do that and learned a lot. And I will be sharing that with my fellow board members because it was just absolutely excellent. But the staff and our superintendent just did an amazing job, and anytime you heard the word East Central, you could see people, you know, it was like, we were rock stars. I put myself in that way. And I echo everything that you said that brought us to this point this morning to finally get your recognition that you so honestly deserve. And so we're proud to be a part of that too. So thank y'all for indulging me.
Yeah. I would be remiss if I didn't mention graduation and how wonderful that was. But I want to thank everybody that makes graduation happen. You know, there's a lot of people in our community and on our administration and our teachers that all play a part in getting those kids across the stage. So I want to thank everybody for that. That was a great day to celebrate, and the board really loves watching those kids come across and see they're excited about their future. So thank you all that play a part in that. And congratulations again. All right. The next item is Superintendent Reports, 7.1, Board Goals Update.
Yeah, trustees, you've got that slide deck in your miscellaneous packet. Jonathan and the team will present it on the monitor if you prefer to follow along that way.
Madam President, members of the board, Mr. Toscano, thanks for the opportunity to give you brief updates on those board goals that we do every month. As Brazil said, we were up at System of Great Schools. I got to sit next to her the last couple of days, and the commissioner did feature 2 slides about East Central in particular. They talked from our strategy on page about our dashboard and used that as an exemplar and said this is what districts around the state should be using. And then I believe this slide here, if we zoom in on it, will show you the progress that East Central made. And so I know between sessions I had 2 people from TPA grab me and say, hey, I saw your data, way to go. Real proud of you guys for the progress you're making over there in East Central. So they zoomed in, showing over the last few years how much they increased. So that's something we were real proud of from the session. We're going to look through like we usually do with a brief update. I believe last time we looked at attendance and discipline, and we had, I think, 2 days of school after that update. So that data is going to look real familiar. And then Lauren's got some updates for us on CCMR. And then Jen and I are going to tag team some of the student achievement data from STAR that we have available. The state has given us some of the data, but we're actually still waiting for science until the last day of July. So we won't have all of the end of July before 5th and 8th grade get those science scores. So we're missing it. And so it is a evolving, always interesting system that we have from the state. So through the last week of school, here's our update on attendance. We set ambitious goals to increase, just like in every other month. I want you to see the status there. Valor met their goal, exceeded it by over 1%, way to go. Solano met their goal also. Those are, I believe, our two highest attendance in the district. Over on the right, you can see how much they increased year over year. Hopefully, that new way of looking at it. So every month you can see year over year how it compared to that same point in time. I think that's going to look just like what we thought all year long. Almost every campus went up. A few of them had real similar attendance or slight dips on attendance. We went up a little bit more than 0.4%, almost 0.5, right? In that last row, which is a considerable increase to our funding because we know that the state doesn't fund us by kids; they fund us by kids showing up. And so that's a real boon to our system. That work we've done over the last year on attendance. And of course, we know that when kids show up to school with our teachers, it helps with the learning, which is super important for us. Some bright spots, we had 7 campuses better, that almost 0.5% increase. Next steps, we're looking at campus needs assessments. People are getting more clear about all the data as we get our final bits of data in, including attendance and things, and saying, hey, what are the moves we need to make and how are we going to target and continue that progress for another school year. And then the shift, increasingly, you've heard us probably talking more and more about chronic absenteeism. So that's probably, that looks like the focus for next school year is we know that those kids who miss lots of days, more than 10% of the school year, like that's the key group. If we can move the needle, continue to move the needle on chronic absenteeism, it will continue to make a big difference in our attendance. That's our discipline for the year. You'll see lots and lots of campuses met their goals like we were projecting. I kept that note for like Harmony as an example. For some of the elementaries had just such small numbers, it didn't feel right to say that Harmony with one serious incident that they missed the goal. It's such, but small numbers when it's incredibly small just because, and we know that Harmony grew in size dramatically this last year. As we're exploding in size, they're certainly one of the big ones. And so, and then Heritage did, in the end, they had 128 last year, they had 126 this year. And so we've been tracking that. And I kept saying, hey, it's coming, we think we might make it, So they had been an increase most of the year, but we've been catching up. We finally crossed that line. And we think as we continue to bolster that system, that's going to continue moving into next school year. So we're excited as they have a little smaller campus size. We're hopeful that they're going to have a great trajectory and continue that success. These were our academic goals that we set. On the far left was the current status from the last school year. To the right are the goals that we set to get to 80% by 2030. That was, again, an intentionally ambitious goal, right? So 80%, we know that that exceeds what the state's asking. We know that it's exceeding the state's goals. And you can see the shares of how we're going to get to that goal. We set it last summer. And the next couple of slides are just going to be showing you updates on the results from this year and how we did in relation to those ambitious goals. So I'm just going to take that first row and make sure you know how to read it. So third grade reading, we were at 35% of our students at meets grade level. Remember, there's 3 levels on the test. There's approaches, which is passing. Meets grade level is the higher threshold, and then masters is the highest threshold. So we wanted to go from 35 to 44%. So on the far right, our current status is 40%. And so what I want you to see there, we did have a sizable increase, 5% gain, but it wasn't as much as, our ambitious goal there of 44. So on the far right, that kind of gold color signifies an increase. And so third grade reading went up, third grade math went up, fifth grade math went up, the CCMR juniors went up, and then the CCMR seniors went up, and I gave that a green color to signify we did meet the goal. And so the seniors did get to the 98, which was our very ambitious goal. And so Lauren and the team and Mary Alice and Eric have done amazing work ensuring that we have the phenomenal success rate there for our students. We're going to break it down by campus for you, and so you can really kind of get into it. But first, Lauren's going to do CCMR for us.
You kind of stole my thunder there, right?
Oh.
No, I'm excited to go over these final numbers with y'all, almost final, I should say, for our junior goal. You did see that we had gone from 17 to a solid 27% district-wide. We did not hit the goal, but that's great growth to see in 1 year. We still are waiting on AP scores. Those come in on July 7th. So hopefully in about a month, we'll have that to present to you. But the highlight of our year was Cass hitting that goal early on in the year. And in early May, ECHS was sitting at about 94, and the campus was exhausted and ready to look at the students and say, y'all done your best, and we appreciate that. And we kind of convened as an ILT, and we sat down with them, and they found it within themselves to push a little bit harder. We are one student shy of 99. And so to say as a district that we hit the goal is, everybody had tears at one point, so I'm just very excited to show that number to y'all. And I'm very proud of the campuses and their ILTs because they rocked it out this year. And back to normal.
I can't state strongly enough how Lauren keeps that data running for the last year and a half. She'll sometimes run it multiple times a day just to make sure that everybody knows where they're at. Make sure that the teachers and the admin and the campus is able to celebrate all the wins. And I think that level of transparency and making the data work and coordination with the campus really shows off with that great result. I think Mary Alice and her team have done great work there. Okay, so I'm going to look at this one. It's going to kind of just keep going across the same slide. I wanted just to start with, I've got the elementary campuses first, and then I showed last year's third grade reading and meets just like we did before, so 5 campus there. And then the next one, when I click it, it's going to show our current scores. And it's going to use that same color that we did on the prior slide. So Oak Crest went up 7%, Sinclair went up 11%, and then Highland Forest, Pecan Valley, Salado, and Tradition all had huge gains and met that district goal. So they're in the green color. So that's third grade reading. If I go to the next one, it's going to pull in third grade math. So I want you to see there, so Harmony, Oak Crest, Pecan Valley, Tradition all went up. And Highland Forest again met that goal. I had fifth grade reading to it. You're going to see Harmony, Honor, Pecan Valley, they're all going up. And you're going to see Highland Forest again. You'll see a trend there with Highland Forest. And our final one, fifth grade math, you'll see gains again in a lot of the campuses over there on the right. And then I want you to see Salado with another exceptional year with math. And again, Highland Forest met all of those goals. And so Highland Forest has had a tremendous year again with record achievement and even more growth, very strong growth again. As you can see from those numbers, the increase from Highland Forest, they're going from 50 to 61, 53 to 77, 51 to 74. Those are huge gains, even though they were one of the highest in every test last year. And continue that exceptional climb. I just want to make the point that the higher you get, the harder it is to have exceptional growth. Does that make sense? Like you have less and less room to get exceptional growth as you get out there. And that team was able to do it again with credit to that leadership team and the teachers and all that hard work that they did to get that goal. If I pivot over to secondary, we had one goal around 8th grade algebra. And so when I'm talking about CAS, we're only talking about the 8th graders on this one. So they have 9th grade high school students taking algebra, but the goal was just for 8th grade, right? So they didn't get to a goal, but look at the 15% increase there, and then you can see Heritage had a 5% increase on algebra techniques. Coming over to our CCMR, kind of continuing that trend of what we saw before, we see that big gain for our juniors at both campuses, and then we see us hitting the goal for the year in green for both high school campuses, as Lauren said already. I think Jen's going to walk us through some glows.
So some additional glows. Looking at algebra. So some algebra highlights. Have significant increases across the board. We've got double-digit increase in both approaches and needs. Heritage, the highest growth since COVID, and overall EC is up on approaches, needs, and masters for algebra. And biology. About 100%. Heritage had over 200 students testing, 100% of those students met approaches with 93% of those students. Also saw increases at CAS Lead, EC, and Legacy, and as a whole, we were up as a district on approaches, needs, and masters, double-digit increase in masters for colleges. All right, English and U.S. history. Both CAS and ECHS saw gains in English 1, with the district coming up in approaches and in needs. We're celebrating double-digit increase in approaches and needs in English 2 and U.S. history at CAS. Looking at some literacy stats, 3 through 8. All there for you. It's a lot. Oh, go back one. Here we go. All right, so from Valor, we saw strong performance all year long on assessments. And it looks like they rounded that year out with 91% approaches, 68 needs, and 33% masters. So very, very impressive for a first year. And then we see growth at Legacy, Harmony, Highland Forest, Pecan Valley, Honor, Salado, Tradition, all significant gains in reading. Looking at 3rd through 8th math goals, we see Harmony, Highland Forest, Honor, gains in math. Our largest gains in math were at Pecan Valley. So thinking about a lot of the work that Principal Holliday has done with her team, with ILT specifically, and really building that teacher capacity, and we're starting to see that shine through in the student results. And 8th grade social studies, we don't talk about social studies a lot, but we should talk about social studies. Because we have movement in 8th grade history and U.S. history across Legacy, CAS Lead, and ECHS. And then Jonathan's going to take you through some bright spots.
I've heard the Highland Forest name called out a bunch of times there. We are expecting to have high scores on the accountability system. And as you can see from the data, Highland Forest did an exceptional job again. Pecan Valley had some of our biggest gains. They were a campus we targeted this year. We know every year they've been getting stronger and stronger. And they said this is going to be the year, and Crystal and the team did tremendous work. Their delay, their AF is amazing, and they did a great job. I feel like all year long we talked about Valor and the 6th grade literacy team and how the scores were going to be strong. And Casey and the team did great work over there, and we saw that the results as expected. We saw Legacy continue to make gains. I think I'm not sure we have a literacy teacher at Legacy who's not going to score in that high range of like a TIA type teacher. Virtually, if not all of them, it'll be virtually all of them, because Legacy's really done an outstanding job with their literacy again. We talked about how 7th graders taking the 8th grade math test is the lowest point in our system. And we talked about how it's an opportunity to move the needle, and I think Heritage did an amazing job seeing the biggest gains we've seen, I think, in that area. And so we're going to see much stronger 7th grade results in the 8th grade math test than we've seen in the past, and that's going to be a big part of the success story for Heritage this year. We've seen it with Lauren, and so I won't get into all the details again, but those seniors graduating college career military ready. And a big part of that is that TSI readiness. So kids testing and demonstrating levels of college readiness with the current system. That's a success story for us. We don't talk as much about the other state tests like TELPAS. TELPAS, as you may recall, is that English proficiency test. So kids that maybe don't natively speak English take a test every year. We had success stories throughout elementary school. CAST and Legacy also all did exceptionally well on the TELPAS test. During the year, campuses made plans and made pivots, and 3 of them I just wanted to call out, doing a really great job. Harmony, Heritage, and Honor all saw things in their data, and they said, we're not going to get to where we want to be. And they had all different scenarios and different situations and different things happen, but they all made bold moves, made pivots, and those pivots we saw lots of success from those moves, and they were able to alter the trajectory of the campus. And I'm super proud of the work that they did to make sure that they landed that plane and got those results in. But across East Central, if you look at each test at each campus, I'd say probably 80% of them, the achievement is higher than the priority. And so there's 2 things that we always talk about. There's achievement and growth. And so kids are scoring at higher levels on approaches, meets, and masters at campuses up and down across East Central at a much higher rate. This is a great thing. We're proud of those scores. We're proud of that result. And then in a moment, I'm going to talk about growth, because paradoxically in our system, the growth is not as high as it was last year. So last year we had record progress, we had record growth. So even though we're doing better and we're growing, we're not growing at the same exceptional rate up and down the system. And so we're going to see some spots where campuses, the achievement is higher, but their growth is lower. And so when the accountability is published in August, some of those campuses may have slightly lower accountability ratings, even though the kids are doing better than they did before. And so that's something I just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of that vocabulary and just kind of sort of put that on your radar. So some spots where we have hot spots, we talked about 6th grade math. So 7th grade math is the lowest spot for achievement, but in terms of growth, 6th grade math is our lowest growth, and it will be our lowest again this year. It's something we haven't completely solved the 6th grade math thing yet, but we are working on middle school to get there. Math at Honor and Legacy were two hot spots in math. Sinclair was similar on reading, but their 4th grade dropped a bit, and that's a hot spot for them. Just kind of making sure that 4th grade stays strong. And then we talked about TELPAS, and now most of our campus had very high scores, looking at maximum points in the accountability system. 2 of them that didn't are East Central High School and Heritage, and so continuing to make sure that we're working with that ESL program in those campuses, making sure that we're still pushing and making sure that we get that TELPAS growth again next year. And then, a hot spot for me is we don't know what the science scores are. They literally can't tell us anything about the results other than are they probably on target, probably not, or is in a zone of uncertainty. And so those are the 3 levels they've given us on kids. And so it does slow us down a little bit on our ability to project and give a full accounting for accountability. But they have promised that they will give us those final reports by July 31st. So,
More to come.
Thank you. I just wanted to be able to give you guys another update next time.
And then Jen's going to close it out.
Okay, so some next steps that we are already working on. Strategy on a page is a term that's familiar to all of you,
We are updating and working on that for this next upcoming year, what that's going to look like, scaling back so that we can focus very intently on high-impact teaching and learning, data-driven instruction, CCMR goals again, and then opportunities to learn. So we'll see a focus of data talks in there, so having more frequent, repetitive cycles of looking at data more often and responding as quickly as we can so that we can get students to close those gaps as quick as possible. As soon as we get more information from the state, like the science scores and the specific student expectation, we'll continue our disaggregation. So right now, we know generally how students did, but we don't know how they did on every single standard. So once that data is released, we'll start looking historically where we've been. Did we grow it into standards? Are we still weak in a couple standards? Do we need to do anything with curriculum instruction assessment to beef up support for those standards? So as soon as we get that data released, we'll do that. We'll continue with our differentiated campus support plans in collaboration with campus principals. Part of this includes our TEA LIFT grant, where Big Rock will be one of our technical providers coming in, so even their support is differentiated to meet the needs of our campuses. And then we'll kick off leader and teacher professional development in the middle of July. It's only a few weeks away, with DLT and new teacher academy already up and running and planned.
Does anybody have any questions? I have a couple. Jonathan, on for the attendance, I was just curious. I know y'all have action plans, and we were talking about for chronic absenteeism. So the ones that are not yet but improving or not yet completely, when this happens over the summer, you guys, does that trigger y'all to look for other ways to get to these individual kids? And if you implement other ideas in order to get to the goal? Is that something that's done during the time off, or?
Yes, ma'am. So there are two big things going on. So one of them is the needs assessment. So trying to look at the data and dig into it, make sure that we understand what's going on. And so we do that at the district level and at every campus. And so that's an important part of the process. And then strategy on page, one of the key areas is around that chronic absenteeism. And so getting super clear on that. And so we've been increasingly utilizing things like communities and schools to target those kids. But we're still kind of, we want to continue those things that work because we saw impact. And I'd say probably 80% of campuses saw a significant decrease in chronic absenteeism. But we still think there's room to improve there. So it's a work in progress where we're still, it's one of those things where we haven't arrived. And I'm not sure we'll ever arrive, but we always want to be stronger than we were before.
Sure. Thank you, I appreciate that.
That's what I think.
And then Lauren, I had a quick question about the CCMR for the juniors. I know that we won't get information until July 31st. And so as they move over to seniors when we start school, will these percentages be what we see, or will July 31st affect those? Or where will they be at when we start back to school?
Yeah, good question. Most of our juniors that have met that 27% are typically your same students that will AP test, so I don't anticipate this going much higher than maybe 28%. But what I will tell you is the plan that we've put in place next year with dual credit pretty much for all will drastically change the outcomes as accountability changes for CCMR next year to meet these goals. And so we've been working pretty much with ECISD and CAS since October of last year, identifying the correct placement for every rising junior and rising senior. Whether they are a SPED student, an EB student, there's a plan in place. We have to iron out a few more over the summer, but as of right now, we're about 85% of the students that have a solid plan next year to meet both of those goals.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, does anybody else have anything? Okay, thank y'all so much. The next item on the agenda is the 2026-2027 formula grant consolidated federal application available for public viewing.
Yeah, trustees, we have a draft of the 2026-2027 formula grant application available for public viewing and for board review as well. This is a requirement prior to submission of the grant application. And just by way of reminder, this is for federal entitlement funds that are meant to provide enhancements to programming for kids. This is the Title I, Title II, Title III, Title IV dollars that all serve a very specific purpose to target and create opportunities for kids in this program. So we write the application specific to what our needs assessment determines would be most beneficial for where our opportunities are. Those funds, when awarded, can only be utilized for the purpose of your grant application indicated. And so for that reason, it's drafted. We have an opportunity to get some feedback, but by July 1st, we submit that application every year. And so it's been presented to the DEIC as well, and they reviewed that and agreed that it was in line with where our best opportunities were for utilizing these additional federal dollars. So we have to answer your question.
Any questions? Okay. So the next item is 7.3, personnel report.
Yeah, this month's report, just want to remind the board not to get too alarmed. This is the time of year where we see tons of activity on the retirement resignation side. Next month, you'll see that start to flip the other direction. It's a very common cadence this time of year. It's just, I always want to remind the board, because you see something you don't see typically the other time of year. It looks like, wow, where did everybody go? But they're all in the process of being replaced. Again, you'll see that scale tip to heavy on the new hire side next month.
Perfect. Anybody have any questions? Okay. So the next item is construction update.
Yeah, I'll turn it over to Mr. Thomas. You have this month's deck both ways. The monitor or hard copy in your folder.
Good evening. We're going to start off with the ribbon cutting ceremonies. We have two great ribbon cutting ceremonies at Ballard Middle School, as well as the CTE building, and a beautiful tree dedication as well. So really good time out there, enjoying the community, all the folks enjoying the schools and the facilities that are provided. And so it kind of closes it out from a construction standpoint. So we won't be filling you in anymore on these two particular projects. We move on to Victory Elementary School. This one we're doing final punch list. We've got a little bit of things on site that we're finishing up. But really coming together well, I would say. Meredith and her team and the administration at the campus have been working very diligently to get prepared for next week's ribbon cutting fair as well. So we're excited to get that one. Elementary school number 10. We did have a beam signing out there. Unfortunately, this goes to publish the day that the beam signing happens. We weren't able to add those photos in here. But a really great beam signing at that campus. That team is working hard. As you know, we've had a lot of rain, but these guys are amazing. They get their pours in, they keep it moving, and it's like an ant pile turned over out there. They're doing a really, really great job with the weather that we've had and the challenges, but moving that project progresses very well. High school number 2. This is a huge site, and so these floors are extremely large. They're a little bit harder to get in with the weather, but this team is working diligently as well. You'll see here, this is a huge slab. You'll see some layout on top of it. That's the tilt wall. We'll start seeing the tilt wall set up here in the next couple of weeks. So good progress out there as well. It's hard to see as much as you do elementary school 10 because it's such a large site, but they're doing very, very well and making good progress out there. The new transportation system. Building is coming along very well. The site has been a bit of a challenge because of the flatness of the property. We get these 1.5 inch rains and then it gets down deep in that soil. So you start trying to turn any dirt out there, it's a little more difficult. So good progress on the building. I think the site here the next month we'll start seeing some driveways coming in, some parking lots happening, but it's been a bit of a challenge with the weather that we've had, but still making progress. Do you have any questions?
Anybody have any questions?
One quick question on any of the ongoing construction. I know we talked about weather and
Yes, sir.
are we still projected to finish on time, or has it set us back and what's kind of the,
So the high school and elementary school 10 are tapping right on schedule. The one that has lagged a little bit because of the weather is this transportation facility. It was the end of September we were shooting for. It's kind of pushed us a little closer to the middle of October.
so then the student areas
Yes.
are on pace with the release?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we really try to ride herd on those because we know we have to get those.
Right, that's kind of more.
Those students in, right?
Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
Love it. All right. Oh, thank you.
All right, you bet. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Anybody else? Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next item is upcoming events.
Yeah, so as was indicated by Mr. Thomas, on the 25th, next Thursday, we have a ribbon cutting at Victory, 4:30 p.m. And then in July, yeah, it's all kicking off. So we will see July 4th, the holiday, but immediately after that, we start trustees kicking off our special board meeting. We have our agenda discussion on the 7th, a work session. We have a big community back-to-school event that's being hosted by Commissioner Calvert, Precinct 4 at Harmony. They're providing a ton of school supplies for children and families in our community. We're very honored to be selected by Precinct 4 for that event. It's from 9 a.m. to noon. It'll be a big community event in partnership with Precinct 4. That's Saturday the 11th. The 13th on Monday is another really big community event, and I believe, Ms. Brazil, you had some interaction with Councilwoman Viagran about that, but it's a South-Southeast Neighborhood Symposium at 5:15 Southside Lions Center. Will be represented there along with community groups on the south side. You might want to mark your calendars there if you have an opportunity. DLT, July 14th and 15th, Tuesday and Wednesday. Typically that first morning, we'll have trustees break bread with leaders as they return and say a few words of encouragement as we get ready as our leaders come back and retreat together in preparation for leading another exceptional year. Your regular board meeting in July is on the 16th. You have a special board meeting on the 23rd. It's a budget and goal setting workshop where we'll really refine many of the really specific goals and strategies that we'll deploy next year to meet the needle again in areas that we have the biggest opportunity. And then the district kickoff event, i.e. welcome back, 2 sessions, 8 a.m. and 10:30 on the 29th. At the Performing Arts Center. And then on the 30th, you have a special board meeting for superintendent evaluation, 5 p.m. in the boardroom. So the board has a really busy July. Maybe bring some oxygen.
Yeah.
Bring some oxygen. And hydration.
Anybody have any questions? The next item is the consent agenda. Would anyone like to pull from the consent agenda?
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to pull 8.4 and 8.5, Heritage Middle School PTA donation and some other.
Okay. Then let's have those for that. So we're going to pull 8.4 and 8.5. Do I have a motion to, we'll present it? Okay, go ahead.
So Heritage PTA, trustees, you may recall that they donated a little over $5,000 this past year to purchase some water bottle refill stations. Those were installed. They were a big hit with kids and staff. The PTA continued to do what the PTA do, to identify opportunities to enhance what opportunities are available for our children and staff. And they've raised an additional $6,355, and they want to donate that with board's approval for 2 additional refill stations. So again, per board policy, CDC local, being that it exceeds $5,000, the board has to accept that. So we'd be happy to answer your questions the board might have about that?
No questions, I just wanted to bring it out and say how much I appreciate it. I'm sure everyone else does. It's great, and I know that we appreciate it even more, as ways that are going to be able to be utilized. So it's a great thing.
Can I get a motion a recommendation?
So, Madam President, I recommend the board accept a donation from the Heritage PTA in the amount of $6,355.56.
Thank you so much. Can I get a motion to accept the donation from Heritage Middle School PTA? Sure. I have a motion from Mr. Crossman. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second from Mr. Santos. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. The next item will be the Salado Elementary PTA donation.
Yeah, similarly, the Salado PTA has been hard at work, looking for opportunities to enhance opportunities for our staff and our students. They have raised $15,000 and have offered to donate that $15,000 to purchase and install playground shading structure at Salado. This is a 30 by 45 by 10 mini super shade structure. And if we approve this in the next 30 minutes.
Come on.
It is much needed. I know the staff and the students are really excited, and as Mr. Velasco said, lots to be appreciated for all the hard work the PTA put in to make this possible. So again, it's over $5,000, so we require board consideration.
Wow, that's amazing. So yeah, anybody have any questions?
No questions. Again, the comment, great things happening, and that's a lot of hard work by volunteers. And I've seen what they do over there, and it's exemplary, and the commitment that it takes. And so they have great leadership over there as well. So great things.
That's awesome.
This is all right.
Yeah.
All right, Madam President, I recommend board that accept the donation from the Salado PTA in an amount of $15,000.
So do I have a motion to accept the donation from the Salado Elementary PTA?
So moved.
I have a motion from Mr. Gerhart. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Mr. Crosco. All those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Thank you. That's amazing.
There's, Madam President, I'd like to pull 8.6, get some information on that, please.
Okay.
On the health plan premiums.
Okay, we're going to pull item 8.6. 8.6. Mr. Would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, trustees, as you'll recall from the workshop, we had staff from Holmes Murphy here to present the performance of last year's plan and along with Holmes Murphy, our recommendations for premiums for the subsequent benefit year. And just at a high level, if you'll recall, prior to last year, we had shifted benefits consultants. We completely redesigned our benefits program as our prior benefits program was meeting the expectations of our employees, but fiscally it was not going to remain solvent. We had to put $2 billion out of fund balance into that program to balance the budget. I'm happy to say that this year we won't be doing that. We were able to end up cost neutral, relatively speaking, but we will see a premium increase this year because market trends are what market trends are. I will say that our benefits program did underperform when compared to market trends, which is excellent. It proved to be an effective benefits model, both for our employees and the satisfaction surveys that we received from our employees, but also in terms of cost. And so again, it's cost neutral. We're not going to add any complexity to the benefits program. We're going to double down on education for our employees so that they understand what benefits they have and how to access them. We know that with increased utilization, we'll see better, more health conscious and more healthy employees. And we know that over time, that's the path to reducing cost of our healthcare program. So we'll see a reasonable but small 8% increase. Again, the trend is about 11 to 14% in the market. And that 8% is going to be be shared by the district. The district's also going to increase the employer contribution to mitigate the impact for our employees. But we see that as still a very affordable health benefits program with quality benefits. Again, it's less than the market trend in terms of cost increase. And we're very confident that we've solved the problem in terms of the management, the discipline, decision-making framework that we utilize to make decisions about the benefits program. And we're happy to be putting forward, again, a really quality benefits program that's affordable, both for the employee and for the district over time. And again, I think the high point was we were upside down $2 million this year, cost neutral this year in 1 year. That's a substantial celebration.
Any questions? I might have a crazy question, but when you use telehealth or teledoc, is that zero to us and the employee, or is that built in?
So there's two telemedicine, so to speak, options. With Blue Cross Blue Shield, employees do have access to what you would be familiar with in terms of telemedicine. But we also have Galileo for our employees that is advanced primary care. So if you've ever used telemedicine, you're familiar with it, this is a little different because it's like primary care that's not brick and mortar, meaning that they have your file, the team of doctors that you meet with will have access to that medical history from primary care visits. It's more coordinated, communicated. So basically, it's a similar experience to going in to a brick and mortar primary care clinic, but you can do it 24/7, 365. And our employees have found that to be a tremendous option, and we want to increase utilization there. I think we had close to 700 participants actually registered and utilize Galileo of the just over 1,000 participants, which for 1 year is tremendous participation, utilization. But we know that if they'll utilize it more, they'll go to urgent care less. They won't put off their treatment longer than they should. But with Blue Cross Blue Shield, they can also get a primary care provider and visit brick and mortar face-to-face as well. But it seems to be the trend in the healthcare space, this advanced primary care. About 80 to 85% of why folks go to the doctor is the typical, sinusitis and things of that nature. So if we can get those needs met 24/7, 365 for them and their beneficiaries without having to miss work or without having to go to an urgent care because it's too late at night on Saturday, then again, it's better for them and it's also better for the system in terms of cost.
Awesome. Great. Okay. Jason, what do you
Yep. So Madam President, I recommend board approval of the ECISD Health Plan 2026-27 proposed premiums as presented.
Do I have a motion to accept the health plan 2026-2027 premiums?
So
I have a motion from Mr. Santos. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Crosco. All those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Thank you. So at this time, I would like to see if anyone would like to make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented. I have a motion from Mr. Crosco. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Mr. Gerhart. All those in favor of accepting the consent agenda as presented, raise your hand. Motion carries. And at this time, we will be moving into executive session. 9.1 pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551074, the board will deliberate, and then 9.2 pursuant to Texas Government Code Sections 551071, the board will consult with its legal counsel. Okay, the board reconvened from closed session at 8:17 p.m. No action was taken in closed session. The next item on the agenda is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So
I have a motion from Mr. Santos and a second from Mr. Crosco. All those in favor of adjournment, raise your hand. Meeting adjourned.